Hello, and welcome to Have a Yarn with Charlie. I'm Charlie, and all of a sudden I get itchy. So today, what I have for you, I'm sitting outside, and as soon as I came out here, the birds started tweeting, so I'm sorry if they are overpowering with my new microphone. But today, I have for you a new design that I just come up with from or on the Addi Express. Now that's the king size Addi, if you were wondering. It's the fingerless glove with this special pattern right here. It goes all the way around. But yeah. So without further ado, let's get started. Here are some examples of the fingerless glove pattern that I've made. It's very hard to take a picture with your own hand, but we're going to be using mandala ombre yarn, any color. It's a size 4, 344 yards, but we're not going to be needing all of that. There's plenty in here to make a pair. You can use any type of yarn actually, as long as it's, no, it doesn't even have to be just a 4 weight. But to be more comfy, yeah, I would recommend the 4. So we're going to do a few rows of waste yarn here. We start on the first black peg. I have the red part marked with a Sharpie, so I know when the first pegs are starting. But we're going to cast on with our waste yarn, and we're going to around, hook it, around, hook it, around, hook it, and we're just going to keep doing this all the way around. You can go once you get comfortable, you can go fast, you go slow. It's your preference. Around, hook, around, hook. And we're going to go all the way back to the beginning stitch. Hook. I'm okay. So we're going to feed that through the yarn feeder. Always make sure that this is closed after you put in your yarn, because when you go around it could break. But I reset the counter. You can do as many waste yarn rows as you want. I usually do between 5 and 10. If you have old waste yarn that you've used on another project, just make sure that it ends on that first black stitch. And yeah, I like to do between 5 and 10. That way I know if I drop a stitch, it has to go through all those rows of the waste yarn. Okay, and around and around. And I have a little tangle here. See, I have a little knot. So just give me a second and I will get this out of the way. Again, please pardon the nails. I haven't done them yet. When I take a break in a little while, I will fix them. I apologize. I do a lot of yarn work, housework, garden work. Okay. Alright, there was the beginning again. Alright, and we'll just go a few more. And there's the beginning. Yeah. Alright, so I used old waste yarn from another project, so I'm just measuring it to see if I'd have enough to go around one more time. I don't, so I'm going to cut it. It's alright, it's just waste yarn. But I'm going to put that in there. around so it's on the left of the first peg. Throw out the extra. Sorry, I'm sitting Indian style. Alright, so I grab our working yarn and I'm going to put it to the right of our first peg. And that way there is no gap. So when you go to close it up later, when it's a tube, you'll be able to see the actual stitch that you need to grab. And you won't drop any. Alright, so I reset the counter to 0. Let's just move this to a better angle. I hope you can see it here. Alright, so the first round, I usually hold this till the first catches, and I go slow, just to make sure everything is catching properly. I just want to make sure you can see good with the counter and everything. Okay. Alrighty. Alright, so that is one row down. Okay, see, one row. I hope you can see that. Alright, now we're going to keep going. And I'm going to do them, or most of them with you. We are going to do 10 regular rows of knit. Now I have my machine not bolted, but with the bolts that came with it to my desk. But I like to hold on to the machine with my left so it doesn't wobble. But we just go around and around. And then once we hit our 10th row, when the counter hits 10, we're going to start our special pattern. And this particular pattern, whole pattern, is going to be 50 rows in total. So we're going to have waste yarn, 10 rows of regular knit, then 35 rows of special pattern, and then 5 of regular knit, and then we're going to waste yarn. But we're at the 10 here, and here comes the good part. Okay? Alright, so I hope you can see this. This is the magic. Alright, now we're going to wrap around. Let me see. Oh. I really hope you can see this okay. So, I'm getting flustered. I'm sorry. We got the 10 rows going on, and I'm just writing down. Believe me, do this. It will help you in the long run if you have to. When the number is even, you wrap. When it's odd, you knit. It's a knit row. So as it's number 10 now, we're going to wrap. Now let's say you have to get up, get a drink, go to the restroom, someone knocks on the door, and you don't know where you are. As long as you're in the beginning, you look if it's an odd or even, and you can tell what type of row you're on. But we're starting out with the wrap row, which is an even. So you wrap it around 2 pegs, and then you knit under 2 pegs. See how it's 1 and 2? Okay. And I started with that first black peg. So then the next 2 stitches together is going to be a wrap, and then the 2 knit. 2 wrap, 2 knit. Once you get used to this again, just like the waste yarn, the casting on, it will be second nature, and it does get a lot easier. When I was first learning this, I was a little clumsy. But we're going to keep going around, and then I will meet you back. Okay. So we knit and then wrap, knit and wrap, knit, wrap, and we just keep going. Okay. Okay, and here's the beginning. And then we always end on a wrap before we get to that first black hook. It's always a wrap. So now we're going to do a knit row. Okay, put that in there, close the gate. We're on an odd, which is 11. So we're going to knit all the way around, see? The odd row, since we're on 11, is a knit row. The even is the wrap. Okay. Let's pull out some yarn here. Catches a few stitches, and we knit all the way around. So every other row is going to be a knit row. Okay, here's the first stitch hook again. I'll get my words right. So then we wrap around the first two, and then we knit under the next two. Wrap around these two, and knit under these two. And we're going to do 35 rows of this. And I know it seems like a lot, but believe me, once you get the rhythm going, it works up really fast before you even know it. Just pulling out a little bit more yarn here. Okay. Make sure. All right, and then we wrap and knit, wrap and knit, wrap, knit, wrap. I'm just doing a little bit more with you. That way I know for sure you're understanding what is happening here. Okay, I'm back to that first one. So it's going to be a knit row now. And then we just knit all the way around. Okay. Now I use these, I got them, I think Walmart or the dollar store, but I just clip them on as weights. I put one here and then one on the other side, and it balances the weight. But it helps keep the yarn down so it doesn't fall out of the hooks or get bunched up. And now we're back to the first one again. Okay. So we just did the knit. Now we're going to do the wrap again. Keep going until you hit row number 35, and I will meet you back. Okay, we are back. So, different angle here, but we're going to go back in there. Let's just adjust this a little bit. I'm going to push these up a little more. Okay, and then I did the other side. All right, so now the counter shows 45 because we did 10 regular knit, 35 with the swapping of the knit and the wrap. Now we are doing 5 rows of regular knit. And that's pretty easy. Okay, that's 45. All right, and then we do 5 rows of knit. Okay. I'm going a little slow here so I don't make you dizzy. come back to the first one. Okay, so that is our 5 rows. At any time, if I go too far or too fast for you, by all means, pause the video, go back, rewind it. So I cut a big tail and I put it in the middle. We're going to use that to seam up the sides later. Now, before you take it off the machine, we're going to put more waste yarn. Yay! So we're going to do it just like we did in the beginning, except instead of casting on, we're just going to do regular knit rows with the waste yarn. Again, so we don't drop any stitches. One on one side, one on the other, so we do not have a hole. I hold it down until the hook grabs it. Okay. And I do a minimum of 5 rows on this. It doesn't matter if you do 10 or 20, it's all up to you. Just have a couple of rows. Okay. Now, if you have extra yarn and you go past that first hook, that's quite all right, because it's all going to be falling off. See? It's in the middle. So we're just going to keep going around, even though we have no yarn. And it's going to fall off the machine, which is quite okay. All right, see? It's going to fall off. There it goes. Now, since the waste yarn is there, we're not going to be losing the stitches from our working yarn. And if we do, we still have the couple of rows of the working yarn before we lose it. Okay, now that it is off, here comes the fun part. Okay, we got the waste yarn and the waste yarn. Now we stretch it. Whee! See, it's so small when it comes off. I love when you get to stretch it. It goes whoop, whoop. Sorry, I'm sitting outside and people are getting home from work now. Okay. And there is that gorgeous pattern. Isn't that awesome? Ah, I love it. It's so cool. You get the bump there, and then the ridge, and then, yeah. Okay, so let me show you how to tie up these tubes. I'm going to put the extra yarn in there. We're going to grab a crochet hook. Any size, up to you. For this particular one, I used a size E. But like I said, you can use any size you want. Okay, so now we take these threads, pull them through, make sure they're out. Now what I like to do, see, I just tied those together so they wouldn't come loose on the machine, but I like to have those strings right on the edge. So we're gonna reposition this here, stretch it out some more. Okay, so now that my strings are on the side here, let me bring you in closer. Ooh, surprise! Right? Okay, so now we go over to this side. I want to make sure you can see this. We have stitch here, and stitch here. We're not doing the working yarn. We're grabbing the main yarn. It makes, when you use a contrasting color, you can see it better. But we grab this stitch on the side and pull it through. And then we go to this side and find the stitch. Sorry if I get out of camera view, and pull it through. And we just go all the way down doing this. We grab this side, pull it through. And sometimes I pull so hard that I don't lose the stitch, they just go down further into the work. We grab this side, pull it through. And this, and pull it through. And we're just doing this all the way across. Okay, and then keep going, pause it, and I will meet you back at the end, and I'll show you how to close it off and pull out the waist yarn. Okay, so just bring this in a little closer. I hope you can see this. But always double check to see if you have all your stitches. I know it's a little hard to see on the video if you're half blind like I am. But I had one more stitch and I pull it through. I don't see, is there any more? Yes. Yes, there is. Okay. And we pull that through. All right. So now I grab the working yarn. Oops, sorry about that. Grab the working yarn or the tail. And is there any more? I think, nope, one more. My bad. See, always double check or we would have had a dropped stitch. But now we take the tail and we're going to pull that through to close it, those stitches, so we don't lose them. Okay. All right. Ta-da! And now we're going to take off this working yarn, and then we can inspect to see if we dropped any stitches or missed any. One side is easy to come off, one side is not. This is the side that is, yeah, that is easy. Okay, we'll just try not to get it tangled, but sometimes you can't help it. And then you just whoop, pull it all through. It comes right off. The other one, yeah. You have to pull out that first row on top of the working yarn in order to have it unwind like this. Grab the right thing here. I don't see any drop stitches so far. No. See? No drop stitches. Alright, we caught them all. Okay, so now we're going to pull the rest of the waist yarn and double check to see if we dropped any in the corner over here. That's usually where I miss stitches, is always in the corner. But see how we have like a little brim going on? That was from our 10 knit rows in the beginning. No drop stitches. Looks beautiful. Yay! Okay, so I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. Again. Okay. Oh, isn't this fantastic? Now we're going to do the same thing to this side. And we start on one and we go to the other. Okay. Now I need one of these little needles. See, they come in all different sizes. Whatever one calls my name, that's the one I grab. Doesn't matter what size. I did that on purpose so you know, like, it doesn't have to be a specific size. But here is that long tail that we left. Okay, and this is how I do the threading of this big needle. I fold the yarn and I just shimmy it back and forth into the hole. Boop, comes right through. So much easier than trying to thread the eye the normal way with one eye closed. And yeah. Alright, so now we have to measure it to see where our thumb is going to be, now how far do I want the fingers to stick out? Because we're going to put stitch markers where we want our thumb hole. There, okay, I hope you can see a little better. So the fingers are sticking out a little bit, the knuckles are covered, so we want roughly the top of it to be right about here. So I'm going to grab a stitch marker and just mark that off. It doesn't have to be precise. Okay. Then, dogs are barking now. Yay. Okay, so now we measure it again. Pull this over. This seems a little too far up. So, move that over. Let's push my hand in a little more. There we go. Okay. So now it's still covering the knuckles. The thumb can get out. It's right about here. We put another stitch marker, and that will be the thumb hole. Okay. Now let me see if I could turn this around so you can see a little bit better. I just want to straighten this out. Yeah, we'll just leave it as it is. I overthink everything. Okay, so we have the yarn coming out of here. So if we were just to go into it, we would have a little lump coming out of the back. So what I like to do is go in through the underside. Right, okay. Because we're going to go under these loops. Alright, but let's go on the underside here. So it kind of makes it disappear a little bit. We're going to go in through there. Come on. Aha, okay. Sorry if my hands get in the way. Okay, and it hides it a little bit. It's not perfect, but it hides it. Now, we're going to be going back and forth. We're going to do the same thing, go on the underside so they look even. And we just go through one or two of the stitches for back here. When you are going up the side, you could do between 3 and 4 of the stitches. If you happen to grab 3 instead of 4, perfectly fine. And if some are 4, again, perfectly fine. And then we just pull this through. Now, I do not make it tight yet because I like to see where the last stitch was the last time I was on a specific side. I hope I said that right. So I'm in the same, not lane. I can't think of the word. The same row. So it doesn't get all lopsided and cockeyed. But we're gonna keep doing this all the way till we get to the stitch marker, and I'll do the whole thing with you. And some were 3, some I had 4. It's perfectly fine. If you prefer the crochet method of closing, that's okay too. I like doing it this way. It gives it a better closed look with this particular pattern. Like you can't see the seam too much. As well as in the end, if you want to put a border on the bottom or the top with single crochets with the crocheting or around the thumb hole, by all means, you could do that. You can embellish it with little special buttons or pins or something. Okay, I just want to, there's the old stitch come through. I hope I'm not boring you with my bad sewing method here. But we are almost done. Okay. We're coming up to the first stitch marker soon. There's that stitch, so we're gonna go through here. Okay, don't catch the stitch marker. We don't want to lock it in there. Well, I could probably get it out anyway, but okay. Oop, I came out of the camera, sorry. And then, okay, I gotta take this off. Alright. And it was just three little stitches. Okay, now we are up to the first stitch marker. Now we can pull it closed. This particular yarn, you can be rough with it. See how it squinches up? But that way I know it's sealed. And then you just stretch out the actual product and you can't even tell there's a seam. Okay. I hate weaving in tails, so I'm going to work the working yarn through the thumb on one side so I can get to the other side. That way I don't have to grab a new piece of yarn and weave in that start end, and yeah. But it's not that hard. Just whoop, right through. Finish this up. See? Can't even see it. It's hidden in those stitches right there. Now you could do the single crochet like I said when we're all done. That's your choice. Now since I'm at the edge, I'm going to take this stitch marker off as well. If it doesn't match up, perfectly fine. It stretches. You can make it look. I'm just testing out if my type of measurement was okay. Yeah. All right. So we're still good. Because when it's half sealed, you can get a better idea of where the thumb is going to be and whatnot. Okay. Yeah. It's so soft. Oh. Okay. Yeah. So, yep, right where I had it. Why did I let go? Okay. All right. There. That looks pretty good, right? Yep. Okay. Now, you can continue doing it the way that I was in the beginning with the sealing up. You could do a wrap stitch, which I'm going to do in the end. But, okay, right where my fingers are, where's the needle? Okay, and again, if you continue with the same type of closure, which I do back and forth, 3 to 4 stitches. Since we're on a smaller section, you could do 2 or 2 and 3. It'll be your fingerless glove, so it's your choice. I'm just concentrating here. I get a lot of brain farts lately, sorry. Okay, got a couple there. And just back and forth. Now, just a little warning, if you close it off like I do, you will have to go backwards and pull on the stitches so it closes from the beginning. See how I left them open like I did last time? In the in the beginning. Well, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to have to pick at the stitches to find the stitch, and yeah, it's just an extra little step, but it's okay. Alright, so we're going to come out just like we went in through the bottom. And the dogs want to bark right now. I apologize. Okay, and I did on that side. Alrighty. Now I gotta figure out where the working side was so I could close it all. Yeah. Nope, that ain't it. Nope, that ain't it. But see how I mean? I'm gonna keep going here, and I'll just fix it in the end. But this is what I mean. I leave this open a little bit so you have a little bit more room. I mean, it looks sealed with these types of stitches. I go into one corner and then the other one. But doing it this way, it does leave it a little bit more open and stretchy. And the dogs want to bark. I apologize for them. Okay. There we go. Now, now I get to fight where the beginning, where the stitches were. And I'm going to come in through here and weave it in. Okay. Weave it in again. Come on. Okay. Yeah. See how it's open there from the stitches? Time to work the magic. Now, they are weaved in. And you just follow it along. And you keep pulling. It's kind of like a shoelace. Okay. If you just give me a moment, I'm going to fight with this. But you can watch how I do it. Okay. I'm just following the string. Yeah. I should have pulled it when it was as I was doing it, but it's all good. Okay. So now, since it's threaded through, I'm going to take the needle And I'm gonna, since it's a tube, I'm gonna run it in between the two sides, not in the middle, but in between the two. And then pull it a little and cut, and it gets lost in between the inside of the two yeah. You know what I mean. And then we just have to weave this in. Same way, fold it, wiggle, come through. And I'm just gonna weave it in the top section here of the same color. Okay, go a little bit this way. And then I'm going to skip, I'm going to go back the way I came, but I'm going to skip one so it locks it. Go into the next one and then go back. And then as I come back on my last stitch, I like to go through the middle of the stitch. That way it locks it in again. And then we just cut off the extra. Get off my finger. Pull it, make sure it's tight. There you go. Not bad, huh? I would say all in all, this took an hour to make. I took a little break to grab a cup of coffee, so maybe an hour and a half. But you could have the pattern any way you want. You could twist it, you can make it straight. I kind of like it twisted, but... And then you go and do the other side as well. I'm going to throw this out before I forget. Alright, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this, if you would like more tutorials like this. And if you haven't, please hit that subscribe button. I love this ridge here. Doing the 5 there makes it easy to grab the stitches. Okay, hit that like button, and I will see you all very soon. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Bye-bye.